I'm just about to get a quick tour of Alex Bennett's yacht. He's the skipper of the 40-foot FujiFilm yacht, which will take part in this year's Artemis Transit race, which will kickstart the Plymouth Summer Festival events. Let's go and see what it's like inside.
Come and have a look. Welcome aboard. Here we've got the cockpit area, so all the manoeuvres on board the boat take place pretty much right here. My boat's quite special in the fact that it's got two tillers. Obviously the tillers are there to steer the boat. They're both connected to each other, and the reason we have two is so that when I'm steering the boat at sea, I sit on the high side and the tiller is right near my hand where it needs to be, and I have a very good vision of the whole area of the boat, which is pretty cool. Okay, so here we are at the forward end of the cockpit, and what we have is a little cuddy area here, and when we built the boat we had this fitted specifically so that I can sit underneath and take shelter from the elements when I need to be on deck. There's lots of times in this race where it's so rough that I need to be on deck to take charge of the boat, but at the same time I need a bit of shelter just to keep out of the elements, so this is why we built this, and as you can see it's perfect for my size. And I spend up to sort of half an hour at a time, or even an hour, just lying here and sleeping actually, rather than going down below. So if anything happens, I can get right onto the tiller and steer the boat out of trouble if needs be. So here we are in the cabin of FujiFilm, and what you're looking at right here is really the communications centre of the boat, and also the area where we do all our navigation and tactical decision making, if you like, when we're on the racetrack. We have a complete Raymarine setup on the navigational instrument side, so this instrument here, when it's on, gives us our electronic charts, and the laptop here is integrated into the boat so that we can communicate with the outside world via email. We can send video footage back to you when we're 1,000 miles out in the ocean, but also we have a satellite telephone so that I can also talk to you as well, or anybody indeed, when I'm out at sea, and that helps to convey what's going on here on the boat as it happens, and bring it into your homes when we're racing. Okay, so one of the essential parts of long distance ocean racing, especially when you're solo, is eating. And on these race boats we have a lot of freeze-dried food, and one of the systems that I've got on board is quite simple but very effective. I've got a kettle welded to what is really just a little primer stove, and that helps to boil water to add into my freeze-dried food, and so I can have good quality meals when we're on the go. But everything on board has to be simplistic and functional, so we don't have really pots and pans or anything, just have a kettle that boils water. So here we are in the front of FujiFilm, in the bow of the boat, and this section here is really all about sail stowage. On the racetrack we have to change sails regularly to increase our performance. All the time we're thinking about the speed of the boat, and we have different sails to cater for different scenarios on board, different weather conditions and such like. This is where we store them, and I've got to get them through that little hatch up there. It's quite difficult sometimes, so they're quite heavy and bulky, as you can see, and I have to be able to move them around the boat regularly, and this is where we store them when they're wet as well.
You must have to be really fit, Alex. What are you doing to train for it?
Well, I do a lot of mountain biking, and going to the gym as well is obviously important, but also sailing the boat. You know, a lot of fitness in sailing is about being fit to just sailing on board. That gets you fitter than any other scenario. So I like to do a lot of training on board the boat, but also mountain biking is always a favourite of mine as well.
Okay, tell me where you are now.
Okay, so right now we're under the cockpit area of FujiFilm, and this in turn leads through a watertight hatch into the back of the boat where we have all the steering system and the automatic pilots. The reason there's a watertight hatch here is in the worst case scenario that the boat ever capsized and stayed permanently upside down, or indeed started to sink for any reason. This gives us a clear access through the boat towards the back area, which is kind of like a little survival capsule should the worst happen. So safety is always at the forefront of our minds. I'll go through and you can have a look. Okay, so when we're at sea and I'm on my own, part of the day-to-day jobs of running a race boat and keeping the boat on the racetrack is really to come back here, even in the roughest of conditions, and check that all the steering system is tight and nothing's worked loose, and really check all the automatic pilots as well, make sure that they're performing as they should be, and really look at any other component on the boat, make sure that it's performing as it should. And sometimes getting back here when it's rough and the boat's slamming a lot, it can be quite challenging, but it's all part and parcel of what we have to do every day on the racetrack.
And what's that about there, Alex? Nothing lasts forever.
This is a little motif, if you like, that I put up on the bulkhead here to really remind me that when the chips are down and it's very, very rough and stormy outside, that nothing really lasts forever, and no matter how down or upset I might be about things going on the boat, I can always remember that tomorrow's another day, and the storm will obviously pass eventually and we'll get back to normal sailing conditions. So it's really just a little short, sharp reminder that nothing lasts forever.